What do we actually mean when we say the word democracy? It's a word we hear all the time, but it's a huge idea. It comes from two Greek words, demos meaning people, and kratos meaning rule. So at its core, democracy is simply rule by the people. But it's so much more than just a dictionary definition. It's a whole set of principles for how a society should be run. A system where the people, not a king, not a general, not a dictator, hold the final, ultimate power. This brings us to the single most important principle, popular sovereignty. This is the belief that a government gets all its power from the people. Think about the first three words of the U.S. Constitution, we the people. That's it, right there. This was a revolutionary idea. For thousands of years, people believed that power came from God or from a royal bloodline. Democracy flips that upside down. It says a government is only legitimate if the people agree to be ruled by it. This is called the consent of the governed, and it's the foundation for everything else. So if the people have all this power, how do they actually use it? The most common and powerful tool is voting in free and fair elections. This is how you give your consent. You're not just picking a person, you're hiring them to do a job. And if they do a bad job, elections are how you fire them. In some states or in a small town, you might also see direct democracy, where citizens can vote yes or no on a specific law, called a referendum. But in both cases, it's the people making the final decision. The second key principle is the rule of law. This is the idea that the law is king. In a dictatorship, the ruler can do whatever they want. In a democracy, the law rules, and everyone is under it. This means a police officer, a senator, a billionaire, and even the president all have to follow the same set of rules as everyone else. The laws must be clear, public, and stable. This prevents a leader from just making up rules on the spot to punish their enemies. Which is the definition of tyranny. The founders of America were terrified of a government that was too powerful. So, they built the principle of limited government. This means the government is not all-powerful. It's on a leash. What's the leash? It's the Constitution. Think of the Constitution as a very specific job description. It lists exactly what the government can do, and by extension, it makes clear that it cannot do anything not on that list. This is the primary way to protect the people's freedom. How do you make a government limited? One way is to chop up its power. This is the principle of separation of powers. Instead of giving all power to one person or one group, you divide the government's job into three distinct branches. The legislative branch, like Congress, has one job, to make the laws. The executive branch, led by the president, has one job, to enforce the laws. And the judicial branch, the courts, has one job, to interpret the laws. This way, no one branch can control the entire process. But just separating the powers isn't enough. What's to stop the legislative branch from just passing a bunch of crazy laws? That's where checks and balances come in. This is the real genius of the system. Each branch is given specific powers to check or stop the other branches. For example, if Congress passes a law, the president can veto, reject it. But Congress can override that veto with a big enough vote, and the Supreme Court can check both of them by declaring the law unconstitutional. It's a game of rock, paper, scissors that forces them to compromise. This is a really important one. A democracy is not just two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. The majority rules, yes, but they can't rule in a way that stomps on the fundamental rights of everyone else. A true democracy must protect human rights, basic rights that every single person is born with. These are often called inalienable because they can't be sold or taken away. A government's job is to protect these rights, not grant them. So what are these essential rights? We often call them civil liberties because they are your liberty or freedom from government interference. The government cannot tell you what to believe. That's freedom of religion. The government cannot stop you from criticizing it in a speech or on social media. That's freedom of speech. The government cannot tell journalists what they can or can't report. That's freedom of the press. And it can't stop you from gathering with others to protest. That's freedom of assembly. These are the bedrock of a free and open society. Democracy is built on the radical idea that all citizens are created equal. This doesn't mean everyone has the same talents or the same amount of money. It means everyone is treated equally under the law. The most important part of this is political equality. When you go to vote, your vote counts as one. The vote of the richest person in your state also counts as one. It's the one person, one vote principle. It also means the law should not discriminate against people based on who they are. This is a distinction you'll hear a lot. Equality means giving everyone the exact same thing, like giving everyone a medium-sized t-shirt. But that doesn't work very well if you're extra small or extra large. Equity is about fairness. It's about giving everyone what they need to be successful. So, you'd get a t-shirt that actually fits you. Modern democracies are in a constant debate about this. Is it the government's job to provide equal things or equal opportunities? This is the big check on majority rule. What happens if 51% of the people vote to pass a law that hurts the other 49%? This is called the tyranny of the majority, and it's a huge danger in a democracy. The solution is the principle of minority rights. This says that the majority can't pass a law that takes away the basic human rights of a minority group. Those rights are protected by the rulebook. The Constitution, which is more powerful than a simple majority vote. A healthy democracy needs a healthy and active population. It's not a TV show you just watch. It's a team sport you have to play. Citizen participation is the fuel that makes the engine of democracy run. Voting is the most basic way to participate. But it's also about staying informed on the issues, being willing to discuss them with people you disagree with, serving on a jury when called, or even running for your local school board. Democracy doesn't work if citizens check out. If you hire someone to fix your car, you expect them to be accountable for the work they do. The same goes for government. Accountability means that officials are responsible to the people for their actions. How are they held accountable? The main way is through elections. If they pass bad laws or are corrupt, we can vote them out. But to do that, we need transparency. The government has to be open about what it's doing. It can't have secret budgets or pass secret laws. We have to be able to see what they're doing to hold them accountable. Imagine if you went to an election, but there was only one person on the ballot. That's not a choice, and it's not a democracy. A core principle is having a multi-party system, which means you have real, meaningful choices. Having different political parties, like Democrats and Republicans in the US, or many more in other countries, is essential. It allows different ideas to be debated. The party that loses the election is just as important. They become the loyal opposition, whose job is to challenge the party in power and offer a different vision. Imagine if a judge could be fired by the president for making a decision the president didn't like. That judge wouldn't be very fair, would they? They'd just do whatever the president said. This is why an independent judiciary is critical. The court system has to be separate from and immune to political pressure. A judge's job is to look at the facts and the law, the Constitution, and make an impartial decision, even if it's unpopular. This independence is what makes the rule of law possible. We often call a free and independent press the fourth branch of government. Why? Because it acts as a watchdog. Its job is to sniff out corruption, investigate what the government is really doing, and report it back to the people. If the government controls the media, it can just tell everyone everything is great and hide its failures. An independent press, from a major newspaper to a small local blogger, is how we get the information we need to be informed citizens and hold our leaders accountable. In a country of 330 million people, not everyone is going to agree. In fact, most of the time, we won't. If one side always has to get 100% of what it wants, the entire system will grind to a halt. Compromise is the art of democratic lawmaking. It's the process of finding a middle ground. Each side gives up a little bit of what it wants to create a solution that is good enough for the majority to agree on. It's not glamorous, but without compromise, democracy can't function. So how do the people actually rule? There are two main models. The first is direct democracy. This is what you see in a small town meeting or in ancient Athens, where every citizen shows up and votes yes or no on every single law. It's pure, but it's impossible for a large country. That's why we have representative democracy, also called a republic. We, the citizens, don't vote on the laws. We vote for representatives, congresspeople, senators, whose job it is to go and make laws on our behalf. It's tempting to think of democracy as a final finished product. It's not. There is no perfect democracy. It's a messy, loud, and constant process of balancing very difficult ideas. How much freedom should we give up for more security? When does majority rule become tyranny? How do we balance the rights of an individual with the good of the whole community? Democracy is the ongoing, never-ending argument about these questions, and it only survives as long as we, the people, stay engaged in that argument.